By Friday, Avery. The den or the door? My husband said it like he was confirming a dinner reservation, not detonating a marriage. Ethan leaned against the quartz island, sleeves rolled, hair still damp from the gym, practicing casual while my world tilted. Behind him, Mia, his brother Noah's girlfriend, 7 months pregnant and already curating my life with her eyes, was running a tape measure along my bedroom window like she'd been hired to redesign it. "You'll love the den," Mia chirped, as if reading a script. "It's cozy, intimate, perfect for a busy woman." Busy woman. The way she said it made it rhyme with selfish. I set my laptop bag on the counter. My inbox still had the message open from Fallon and West, the retail chain I'd chased for a year. "We're ready to move forward with Cole Studio," it read, the kind of email that used to make Ethan beam with pride. Cole Studio was my company, my 10th floor baby with floor-to-ceiling windows and a team of 8 who believed I could turn blank spaces into breathing rooms. We'd built restaurants, storefronts, apartments that felt like soft thunder. I'd missed holidays, kissed renderings instead of people, and paid for this condo, every inch of it, with invoices and insomnia. "Run that by me again," I said, palms flat on cool stone. "The den?" Ethan's mouth did that charming lawyer half-smile clients loved. "Noah and Mia need stability before the baby. The master has the ensuite, and, well, you're hardly ever in there. You work late. You stay at the studio." Mia's measuring paused so she could smile at me. It didn't reach her eyes. "The light in the master is so good for newborns. Circadian rhythms. I read about it." "This is my home," I said. Ethan blinked. "Our home," he corrected. "We're married." "Our home," I repeated, feeling the words dry out as they left my mouth. Noah appeared from the hallway carrying 2 suitcases like he was checking in for a weekend somewhere more deserving. He gave me a quick chin raise, the kind guy friends use in loud bars. "Avies. Only my friends call me Avies." Noah had never been my friend. Ethan whisked 2 plates from the cabinet and started buttering toast as if that would absorb the tension. "It's temporary," he said. "Just until they get settled after the birth. We were thinking, 90 days. "We were thinking?" My voice surprised me, calm, almost clinical. "When did we start thinking without me?" Silence cracked. Somewhere down the hall, our Nest camera blinked. I stared at it like it might testify later. Mia was back to measuring. "Your closet will be amazing for diapers. And the mirror? Perfect for tummy time photos." She laughed softly at her own joke, then glanced at Ethan, seeking approval, like a contestant checking the judge's face. I slid my wedding band round and round my finger until the skin tingled. The band was simple by choice. No diamonds, just a narrow circle of gold. We'd told ourselves it meant focus. Lately it had begun to feel like thrift. "Ethan," I said, "the mortgage is in my name. I bought this place before we got married." He spread strawberry jam with the confidence of someone who believed facts could be negotiated. "And we pay bills as a team. I've been carrying more while you invested in that second plotter for the studio. Remember?" I remembered the day the plotter arrived. I'd cried in the freight elevator, forehead pressed to industrial paint, because it meant my little studio was a real company, not a scrappy miracle. Noah exhaled like a man bored. "Look, Avery, there's a baby coming. Mia's nauseous all day. The den's fine. We put a rug in there once, remember? You loved it." I remembered because it was the only fight Ethan and I had about space that I'd won. I wanted a reading room with a door that shut. He wanted a gaming setup. The rug had been my flag planted on neutral ground. We never sat in there. "You're asking me," I said, choosing each word, "to move into a windowless room so your brother and his girlfriend can take my bedroom." Mia's hand drifted to her stomach, the universal trump card. "We just need support right now," she murmured, soft and loaded. "Family rallies." She said family like it included me, and just like that, excluded me. My phone buzzed. A text from my project manager. "FNW wants a concept deck by Monday. We can do this." If I closed Fallon and West, I could finally hire a second senior designer. We'd stop saying "after this quarter" and start saying "now." Ethan slid a plate toward me, toast I didn't want. "No one's punishing you," he said. "You've been stressed. The den will be quiet. You can focus. There are moments in life that sound like nothing but feel like the hinge the rest of your days will swing on." Ethan's words didn't crack, they clicked. Something aligned. I picked up the toast and set it down again. "Where will you sleep?" I asked. "With me," Mia said lightly, too lightly, and then flushed when she realized what she'd implied. "I mean, Ethan and I talked and Noah and I." Ethan's ears went pink. "We'll be in the master. Obviously. Obviously." I let the silence spread, a slow, heavy cloth draped over the room. Noah looked away first. Mia's measuring tape snapped into its case with a metallic sigh. Show me the den, I said. They all brightened. Relief bloomed in Ethan's eyes so fast it stung. He thought this meant I was reasonable, cooperative. The Avery who made tight timelines work and returned produce that tasted like fridge instead of summer. We walked down the hall past my office, framed sketches on the wall, little love letters to spaces that had become real because I imagined them. I don't know why I touched each frame as we passed, maybe to remind myself my hands could make things. The den was smaller than I remembered. A Murphy desk, a love seat, one narrow bookcase, and a lamp I kept meaning to replace. No windows. A faint, stale smell of old cardboard and printer ink. My chest squeezed. Mia clapped. So cozy, she breathed, as if narrating a tour on social media. Maybe add fairy lights. No, I said. It came out flat. Ethan cleared his throat. We'll move your clothes into the hall closet. I already boxed some things from the dresser. You already boxed? I turned. He couldn't hold my gaze. We need to be efficient, he said, lawyer calm. Movers come at noon. I felt the floor notch under my heel. One misstep and you're on your back. I did not misstep. Okay, I said. 3 pairs of eyes widened. Okay, I repeated softly. Give me until lunch. Ethan exhaled, relieved. I knew you'd be practical, I finished for him. That's me. They drifted away, buoyant in victory. The den door clicked behind them, a throat clearing. I leaned against the Murphy desk, stared at the blank wall where a window should have been, and let the hurt wash over me. It came in quiet waves, no theatrics, no moaning grief, just the dull ache of being demoted in your own story. Then I opened my laptop. Passwords are funny things. You choose them when you're hopeful, and then years later, they reveal what you believed. Mine for our shared desktop had once been Futurious. Ethan never changed it. Inside, our family calendar glowed, OB appointments, Noah's mixer, 2 dinners with Ethan's partners, a reminder to talk to Ave about Den. Not ask, talk to. Another window, Ethan's email, still logged in. I don't snoop. I don't need to, my work makes me patient. But the subject line screamed. Guest arrangements. Lease language? Post-birth timeline. And one from his mother, proud of you for taking charge. I didn't click. Not yet. I stared at my reflection in the black strip of the screen, hair swept back, jaw set the way it gets when I'm negotiating bids. If I looked like a woman backing into a den, I couldn't see it. I closed the laptop, texted my project manager, tell Fallon and West I'll have the deck by Sunday night. Also, start pulling receipts for everything we've put into the condo. Every light fixture, rug, appliance. Folder called foundations. She replied with a question mark, then, on it. At 11:55, I came out with a list and a smile I didn't feel. You win, I told Ethan. I'll be out of the master by 3. Mia's relief was a soft, smug exhale. Thank you, Avery. You won't regret being generous. I already didn't. As the movers knocked and the building's lobby camera blinked awake, I walked past Ethan to the bedroom I had paid for, opened the closet I had installed, and began choosing what would come with me, quietly, carefully, like a woman picking tools before she built something new. Wear something soft, Ethan texted at 5:12 p.m. Tonight is about Goodwill. Goodwill. I stood in the master, still mine for a few more hours, staring at the bed Mia had already littered with swaddles and a pastel sound machine that promised ocean waves. I put on black, nothing soft, and tucked my grandmother's narrow gold bangle under my sleeve like a private oath. The guest list was a resume, 2 partners from Ethan's firm, their spouses, 1 senior associate, and a junior he'd been mentoring. Mia called it a little welcome. The catered menu read like an apology someone else would owe me. I arrived in the living room at 6:58 to find my home rearranged as a set. Votives. Linen. The Danish sideboard, my purchase, layered with canapes, not my taste. Mia floated between trays, hand on belly, voice calibrated to warm. We wanted community, she told Mrs. Harrow, whose pearls could pay a semester at Columbia. The city feels bigger when you share a roof. Share a roof. She never said whose. Ethan looked good. That hurt more than it should have. Navy blazer, easy smile, the kind of charisma that wins juries and dinner tables. He kissed my cheek like P.R. Avery, he murmured, thank you for being you. He didn't finish. He didn't need to. Being me was the whole problem. The doorbell kept chiming, the condo filled with firm laughter. I poured sparkling water and listened. Lawyers talk in angles even when they're off the clock, who knew what, when. I catalogued tone and timing the way I usually track sconces and sightlines. Your place is exquisite, said partner one's wife, glancing at the artwork. Mia told us you two have been making it truly yours. You too. My name floated in the air like a smudge no one wanted to wipe. I smiled. I designed the build-out when I bought it, I said, gentle. Mia's adding, baby things. A tiny pause, paper thin but there. The lawyers heard it. Mia did, too. Her laugh got brighter by one what. We sat for the first course. Ethan took the head of my table. It should have looked right. Instead it looked like a borrowed suit. I remained at the far end, a hostess demoted to guest. Toasts began, a partner praising Ethan's family-first leadership, a junior gushing about mentorship, Mia offering gratitude that sounded like a benediction. We're so lucky to be surrounded by people who say yes when life gets complicated. I lifted my glass. Cheers to yes, I said. The room clinked. Then I set the glass down. And to clarity. Ethan's smile thinned. Avies. 2 housekeeping notes, I said, tone light enough to pass as banter, steady enough to cut. First, if anyone needs the bathroom, please use the hall one. The inside is currently being repurposed. Soft laughter. They thought I was making a baby joke. I wasn't. Second, if you notice movers tomorrow morning, don't worry, I added. I'm streamlining. Mrs. Harrow cocked her head. Streamlining? I'm removing anything I personally purchased to off-site storage while we update paperwork, I said. Still breezy. Receipts are, of course, available. Ethan set his fork down. We're not doing this, Avery. I looked at him, really looked, and felt the hinge again. We already are. Mia shifted, hand to belly. Avery, sweetie, maybe we can keep logistics offline? It's a celebration. Of what? I didn't ask. Partner 2 smiled like he was testing a witness. Paperwork? The lease, I said. Title on the fixtures. Acquisition dates. The unsexy parts of a beautiful space. Ethan's jaw worked. This is inappropriate. What's inappropriate is truth delayed, I said, and turned to the table. I apologize for bringing business to dinner. Designers are boring that way, we care how things are built. The second course arrived, a distraction plated in citrus. Conversation splintered, then reformed around safe topics, summer travel, schools, who'd left the city and who'd sworn never to. I let it settle, then stood to refill water at the sideboard. My phone buzzed in my pocket, Foundations folder updated. Shared. My project manager had been busy. As I turned, I caught Noah by the kitchen doorway, whispering to Mia. They glanced at me and looked away too quickly. He held up his phone, screen turned, she nodded. I didn't see the content, but I didn't need to. Pattern speak. Dessert was a citrus tart. I declined. Ethan started his final toast, the one where he would brand the evening with warmth and tidy the narrative. I excused myself toward the kitchen, humming, and opened the cabinet above the fridge where we kept the good crystal. I wasn't after glasses. I was after the Wi-Fi router glowing behind them, tucked away when I redesigned the built-ins, out of sight, never out of mind. I pressed the recessed button. The network hiccuped, then rebooted. In the living room, a chorus of phones chimed as connections flickered and returned. When the Wi-Fi came back, the TV, set to our art slideshow, briefly mirrored my phone. I didn't plan that. But I didn't stop it. The screen flashed a folder thumbnail, Foundations. A slide opened. Not photos, spreadsheets. Furniture and fixtures, proof of purchase. Date. Vendor. Transaction ID. My name. My money. Slide 2, lease and liability. Signature, mine. Slide 3, email excerpt, den plan with subject lines, not bodies, just enough context to press a thumbprint on motive without reading anyone's private words aloud. I hadn't opened Ethan's messages. I didn't have to. The subject lines were their own weather report. The room froze. Ethan's voice snapped. Avery, turn that off. I did. Immediately. The point wasn't spectacle. It was temperature. I stepped back into the dining room, pull steady. Forgive the interruption, I said. I was worried there was confusion about who's hosting. Mrs. Harrow's eyes were winter clear. There isn't, she said. Not anymore. Mia's face had gone a shade that made the room feel too warm. Avery, this is humiliating. For whom? I asked. Noah scraped his chair back. We're leaving. After dessert, Ethan said automatically, lawyer reflex to maintain order. He was sweating. I had never seen Ethan sweat in a room he controlled. I took my seat, the bangle cool against my wrist. Please stay, I told the table. Truly. Eat. Enjoy. If anyone wants me, I'll be in the den. I smiled. A few people startled, then smiled back. Humor is a door even in burning houses. I carried my water down the hall. The den felt smaller with my dignity intact, which is its own physics. I closed the door and breathed. 30 seconds later, it opened. Mrs. Harrow slipped inside, shut it quietly, and leaned against it as if barring entry. Up close, the pearls were older, handed down, not bought. Help me understand, she said. Not unkind, just precise. I gave her the bare bones. I bought the condo. We married. I built a company. I was asked to move into a windowless room because a baby needed sun. She exhaled once. And your role in the firm dinners? Set design, I said lightly. Not star. Her eyes softened in a way that felt dangerous, not pity, exactly. Recognition. When men want to look stable, she said, they borrow a woman's house. A beat. Mr. Harrow and I will be going, she added. He can read a room. You may expect that to spread. She touched the jam and left. I stayed standing, pulse in my fingers. The den air tasted different. Or maybe I did. When I returned, the energy had shifted 10 degrees. People were polite, but no one stayed long. They thanked me for hosting, but said goodnight to me. Ethan's smile had calcified into something brittle. After the door shut behind the last guest, silence flooded the condo. The city glittered beyond glass. Mia moved first. You sabotaged tonight. No, I said. I staged it. Ethan pinched the bridge of his nose. Why couldn't you just move quietly? I supplied. Because quiet is how this happened. Noah scoffed. You think this will play well for you? I don't care how it plays, I said. I care how it ends. Ethan looked at me then, really looked, and I saw it land. I wasn't threatening. I was finished. Movers at 8, I said, and walked past the table, past the candles guttering out, back to the master I still owned for the night. I left the door open. The condo was hushed the morning after the dinner that wasn't. The kind of hush that follows a storm and precedes another. I dressed like I do for sight walks, black trousers, low heels I can run in, hair back, then slipped out before anyone else stirred. At 7:01, I stepped into an office that smelled like eucalyptus and printer ink. Bianca Rao stood when I entered, compact, deliberate, eyes that miss nothing. She'd helped me incorporate Cole Studio on a Tuesday night 5 years ago, when I was still signing proposals at my kitchen table. Ground rules first, she said, gesturing me into a chair. You are not evicting anyone today. You are moving your property and placing everyone on notice. I'll handle enforcement. Your job is documentation. Understood. The word felt like a weight settling into my hand, useful, solid. Bianca slid a folder across the table. Inside, a checklist organized into neat columns. 1. Title and possession. Recorded deed in Avery Cole's name only. Premarital purchase affidavit, closing statement, mortgage schedule. Proof of sole payment history. 2. Inventory. Itemized list of furniture, fixtures, art with purchase receipts, photographs with timestamps. Insurance schedule. 3. Communication. Courtesy notice of move out of personal items. Preservation letter, no deletion of text/posts. Non-disparagement draft, optional. 4. Safety/access. Building notified of authorized vendors. Wi-Fi admin credentials changed after move. Mail forward/PO box set. 5. Money. Joint account balance confirmed and frozen for bill pay only. Beneficiaries updated. Credit freeze. Bianca tapped each section with a pen. You already did half of this by reflex. Today, we create the record a judge would respect, and we behave like adults even if others don't. I told her about the dinner. Not with relish, just angles and timestamps. How the screen mirrored by accident, how I had not opened Ethan's emails, just the subject lines floating like buoys. Her mouth quirked. Good instincts, she said. Stay clean. The subject lines establish context without crossing into privacy violation. We'll subpoena content later if needed. She dictated while I typed a timeline that read like a blueprint. Wednesday, 5:12 p.m. Ethan texts, wear something soft. Tonight is about goodwill. 7:15 p.m. Partner remarks on making it truly yours. Response recorded. 8:40 p.m. Statement streamlining, witnesses present. 9:05 p.m. Network reboot, foundations flashed, then removed. 11:30 p.m. Dinner ends, private discussion, movers confirmed for 8 a.m. Add this, Bianca said, sliding over 2 letters printed on letterhead. A preservation notice to Ethan and Noah, and yes, Mia, because she's using accounts to coordinate. And a courteous occupancy proposal. Occupancy proposal? Temporary, she said. You offer the den, yes, the den, for 30 days while you relocate. Symbolic. It shows you attempted reasonable accommodation. You maintain master access for inspection and retrieval. They may not alter or damage the space. If they refuse, that's their choice on record. She printed a 3rd letter. To building management, confirming you're the owner of record, that movers are authorized by you, that no third party may impede. They already know you, we're reinforcing. I signed, 3 times, clean loops. Last thing, Bianca said, opening a new document. Non-disparagement. We won't push it now, it's leverage. But we do send a do not delete letter. If their mother or anyone else has posted about you, we'll capture that. Screenshots aren't evidence, metadata is. My project manager made a folder, I said. Foundations. Receipts, photos. Good. Today, you narrate. She pointed to my phone. When you return, take video in short, clear clips, reading dates aloud. This is the dining table purchased December 3, 2020, invoice 7845, delivered January 7, 2021. 1 item, 1 clip. If anyone interrupts, you end clip, start new. Judges like tidy. I exhaled. What about the money? Leave the small joint account alone for now, Bianca said. It pays utilities, judges appreciate continuity. Freeze new charges on shared credit, issue replacements for your personal cards. Business remains entirely separate. You did that part right when you were tired and idealistic. She slid me a plain manila envelope. USB with your deed, closing docs, insurance schedule. Hard copies in here. If someone grabs your phone, your case doesn't vanish. Ethan used to joke that Bianca was my second brain. Today, she felt like a spine. We left her office with 2 neat stacks, sealed envelopes for hand delivery and slim packets I'd email after. In the elevator, I practiced neutral face in the mirrored doors. My grandmother's bangle glinted where my sleeve had slid back. Back at the condo, the lobby smelled like lemon cleaner and new coffee. Robert, our doorman, straightened when he saw the folders. All set, Miss Cole? Getting there, I said. Truck's at 8, he said. His eyes softened. Elevator reserved. I'll keep it smooth. The elevator hummed up, a rising line of music. The condo door was ajar, a detail I filed like a screw left out of a hinge. Inside, quiet. Ethan's jacket on a chair. A glass on the counter with a rim of red wine dried to a whisper. I set Bianca's packets on the island and used my calm voice. The one I save for contractors when a wall opens and you find a pipe where a window should go. Good morning, I called. Mia emerged from the hall in Ethan's sweatshirt, her hair in a high knot, the curve of pregnancy ahead of her like a demand. You're early, she said, trying for bright and landing on thin. I have letters, I said. Timestamped, courtesy copies. I placed one on the island. A preservation notice for messages and posts. Please don't delete anything from the last 3 months. That includes Instagram stories. Her eyebrows knit. Why would I delete anything? No reason, I said. It's a standard request. Ethan came then, barefoot, the practiced morning face slipping when he saw the letterhead. Avery. Bianca suggested I communicate formally, I said. This is courtesy. We can still be civilized. He scanned, jaw tense. You're offering the den. For 30 days, I said. While I remove my property to storage and decide next steps. You may remain in the master by my permission during that period. You may not alter locks, fixtures, or finishes. Utilities continue. Guests must be registered with the building. It's all there. Noah drifted in quietly, eyes flicking from letter to my face. Is this really necessary? It's better than a marshal at the door, I said. I prefer paper to drama. I pulled my phone and opened Foundations. I'm going to begin the inventory. Short clips, dates, receipts. If you need to walk through, wait between items so audio is clean. Mia laughed once, sharp. You're really filming this? Yes. I lifted my phone. Dining table, purchased December 3, 2020, invoice 7845, delivered January 7, 2021, paid via Cole Studio owner's draw. I stopped the clip. Breathed. Continued. Sofa, May 12, 2021, vendor Minotti, transaction ID. Ethan rubbed his temples. This is humiliating. It's accurate, I said. Accuracy isn't kind or unkind. Noah muttered something about coffee and retreated. Mia stayed, arms crossed, chin high, defiant until the edges trembled. We're having a baby, she said, so softly it almost vanished. I know, I said, and surprised myself by meaning it. That's why this is on paper and not a scene. I filmed the art, the lamps, the rug that had once been a victory. I photographed serial numbers. I slid receipts into clear sleeves like museum labels. The condo felt different as I named it. Less like a stage. More like a set being struck after the last performance. At 7:55, Robert buzzed. Movers are here, he said. Elevator's yours. I looked at Ethan. You'll get an email in 5 minutes mirroring the letters. I'll CC Bianca. If you have counsel, we can loop them in. He nodded once, that lawyer muscle memory firing even when the man inside looked tired. I'll figure it out. Mia's hand pressed to her stomach. We didn't mean, she began, then stopped, because finishing would make it real. I pocketed the USB, felt the small weight like a key. Out in the hall, the air smelled like metal and morning. The elevator dinged, doors opening to a rectangle of space, bright and empty. I stepped in to meet the team I'd booked, my list in hand, my voice steady. The first knock wasn't on my door. It was on the elevator, 3 quick raps from inside as it arrived, like the day itself announcing it had brought help. "Morning, Miss Cole," Marcus said, stepping out with his crew in dark tees and work gloves. "Color code's the same?" "Green is take, red is leave," I said. "1 item, 1 clip." I tapped my phone. "We narrate as we go." Robert held the service door, clipboard tucked under his arm. "Elevators locked to this floor for the hour," he told me, loud enough that ears in the hallway would catch it. "As authorized by the owner of record." The phrase landed like a stamp. Owner of record. Ethan arrived barefoot, hair rumpled, trying to look composed and landing somewhere between tired and cornered. "We need to talk alone," he said. "We won't be alone today," I said. "That's the point." Mia appeared a beat later in a robe, hand to her belly like a prop and a shield. Noah hovered behind her, phone half raised. A neighbor's door cracked open across the hall. The building manager, Ms. Delgado, stepped out with a lanyard and a neutral face that told me she'd read my letter twice. "Good morning," she said crisply. "I'm here to facilitate the move as per management's notice." Ethan exhaled. "This is unnecessary. We're all family." Marcus lifted a sofa cushion with a neat, professional gentleness. "Family's got nothing to do with weight distribution," he said, and his crew began to work. I started my clips, calm, precise. Sectional, purchase May 12, 2021, Minotti, invoice 9273. Payment, owner's draw from Cole Studio. Ethan stepped into my frame. "You can't take the TV," he said. "It's on the green list," I replied, and without lowering my phone, "TV, December 20th, 2021, B&H, serial number ending 542. Noah snorted. "You really think a spreadsheet makes this your house?" I didn't rise. "The deed does," I said, and placed a sealed copy on the island. "For anyone who needs to see it." Mia's face flushed. "Avery, this is cruel. I'm pregnant. We need the bed." "The bed is red tagged," I said. "It stays. Sheets are mine, they go. You will have a mattress tonight." I looked at Ms. Delgado. "As confirmed?" Ms. Delgado nodded, measured. "There will be a bed," she said, and the temperature in the room dropped by 1 degree, from panic to policy. Ethan reached for the remote, and stopped when Marcus's man unplugged the TV with unceremonious care. "Fine," Ethan said, jaw tight. "Take your things. But we need the key fobs for deliveries and appointments. You can't lock a pregnant woman out." "Of course," I said. "So long as you abide by the temporary license." I slid the 1-page paper toward him, Bianca's clean language, my steady signature. 30 days. No alterations. No additional occupants. No parties. You'll have access. Midnight on the 31st day, if I revoke, management disables fobs. Ms. Delgado cleared her throat. "And we would," she said. Mia swallowed. "You'd do that to us?" "I will protect my home," I said. "You're welcome in it by permission. That's the difference." Noah lifted his phone higher. "Say that again for the video." I met the lens. "You're welcome by permission." A small sound to my left, Robert's pen tapping once against his clipboard, steady, almost approving. The crew moved like tide. Art wrapped, labeled, gone. The smart hub unscrewed from the hall closet. The digital lock pads were replaced with the standard deadbolts I'd asked maintenance to keep on hold. Every time I read a date into my phone, my breath evened out. This was not revenge. It was inventory. Half an hour in, the elevator dinged again. For a wild second I thought Ethan had called backup, his mother, a partner, anyone to apply pressure. Instead, Mr. Harrow stepped out in a camel coat, scarf looped careless rich around his neck. He froze at the threshold, taking in the cartons, the mover with my coffee machine, Ethan's tight smile. "Forgot my scarf last night," he said to no one. Then to me, "Ms. Cole." "On the chair," I said, and he retrieved it, eyes flicking from the deed copy to the red tags, then to Ms. Delgado's badge. "Everything all right?" His voice carried just enough for the hallway to hear. "Everything is documented," I said. Ethan found a lawyer's smile. "It's a misunderstanding. It's a boundary," I corrected, and didn't look at him when I said it. I looked at Harrow. There's a moment when power doesn't change hands so much as reveal where it always was. Harrow's eyes met mine and something softened, respect, maybe, or the recognition of someone who's learned the long way how to keep the floor under her feet. He nodded once, small and decisive. "Good day," he said, and left. No speech. The door closed with a quiet that sounded like a verdict. Mia wavered. Ethan, she whispered. Make this stop. Ethan watched the elevator doors shut on a man he wanted to impress and realized he couldn't even control his own hallway. He turned back to me, switched tactics. This isn't who you are, Avenue. I kept my voice gentle. It is. You just don't like it. He laughed, short and hard. You'll regret this. Maybe, I said. But I won't regret that I did it clean. Noah came in hot then, voice louder than the room warranted. You think a few receipts mean you win? We have texts, Avery. You've said things in anger. You're not perfect. True, I said. Which is why I sent a preservation notice. Keep everything. We'll show all of it. Ms. Delgado stepped half a foot closer. One of Marcus's crew paused mid-rap, eyes up. Witnesses, all of them. The condo suddenly felt like a small courtroom, no judge, but many jurors. I didn't try to sway them. I named a lamp. Doobie Multilight, January 5, 2022. A phone chimed on the counter. Mia's face blanched when she glanced at it. She turned the screen away but not fast enough. Noah saw the preview, a message from her cousin with a screenshot of an old Instagram story. Can't wait to raise our baby here, the caption read, with my bedroom window in the background, dated months before they asked to move in. Silence opened like a trapdoor. I didn't gloat. I didn't lift my chin. I just let the room hear the date in its own head. Ethan caught it too, and for a sliver of a second, his expression wasn't anger. It was comprehension, of planning, of lies he hadn't authored but had benefited from. He looked at Mia. Her eyes filled, not the staged gloss of last night, but something raw and human. For the first time, I felt a flicker of pity for her, trapped in the story she'd written and realizing it didn't come with warmth. I'm sorry, she whispered, to me or to herself. I didn't ask. Marcus passed with the last art piece. 2 more loads, he said. 15 minutes. Thank you, I said, and my voice was steady enough to carry. Ethan rubbed a hand over his face. What do you want from me? His tone had lost the courtroom timbre. He sounded smaller. Tell me what this looks like so I can do it. Read the letter, I said. Follow the 30 days. Don't change locks. Don't throw out mail. Register guests. If you want to talk beyond that, have your attorney email Bianca. If you don't have one yet, get one. His mouth pressed into a line, he nodded. Okay. I signed Marcus's final sheet on the island and lifted the small velvet box from my tote. Not a flourish. Just a quiet, private retrieval of what mattered. My grandmother's bangle slid under my sleeve, the pearls nestled back into place. At the door, Robert held the handle like a gentleman at a train platform. Truck's loaded, Miss Cole, he said softly. We'll see you later for the keys? Yes, I said. At 4. He eyed the room, then me. I'll walk you down. I paused in the threshold and looked back once. Not at Ethan, or Mia, or Noah, but at the space itself, stripped to drywall and echo. It didn't look like a life anymore. It looked like a blank page. Goodbye, I said to the room. No one answered. The elevator door slid shut between us with a polished whisper. In the lobby's light, my phone buzzed. An email from Bianca, received. Beautiful record. Don't engage further. Celebrate small victories. I typed back with one thumb while the other hand held the bangle like a promise. On my way to storage. Then the studio. Then a sandwich. Sharp. Restrained. Done. The summons arrived on a Tuesday in an envelope so ordinary it almost felt rude. Order to show cause, exclusive occupancy and temporary restraints. Bianca had filed it at 8:03 a.m. By 9:17, a clerk stamped our motion with a date that made my stomach loosen for the first time in weeks. 3 asks, Bianca said over speaker while I paced the studio, palms flat against my drafting table. 1. Exclusive occupancy pending equitable distribution. 2. No alteration of locks or fixtures. 3. A temporary gag, no posts, no firm gossip, no we rescued Avery's apartment for the baby narratives. We back it with receipts, the deed, and the preservation notice they've already violated twice. Violated? Instagram deletions, she said. Your neighbor's kid screen recorded Mia's "Can't wait to raise our baby here" story months ago. It's gone now. We have the archive. Judges hate deletions. By noon, Ethan had counsel. A tidy, fast-talking man named Price who shook hands like he'd already billed me. We met in a narrow conference room with a view of the courthouse and terrible coffee. Ms. Delgado sat at the end like a metronome, neutral, steady, there to confirm building policy. Harrow sent a letter. He didn't sign it as a partner, he signed it as a guest who observed. The distinction was a surgical incision. Price opened with plausible warmth. No one wants a fight, he said. My client wants stability for a pregnant family member. Mrs. Cole. Ms. Cole, Bianca corrected, is understandably emotional, but we can resolve this without scorched earth. Let us keep the master, we'll vacate in 60 days, she keeps the furniture. Everyone breathes. Bianca slid a thin packet across the table. Our counter is already before the court. Today we're here to talk about reality. Reality looked like this: a deed predating the marriage by 2 years, a mortgage paid only from my accounts, a separate property affidavit, signed and notarized, tucked in the closing set like a pressed leaf. And then Bianca's quiet flourish, a postnuptial acknowledgement, 3 pages, from the first year of our marriage. Ethan's eyes flicked down and recalculated. You did, Bianca said gently. Estate planning. You wanted favorable rates on your car. Avery's lender required clarity around the condo. You signed in front of a notary. We have the journal entry. Price skimmed, slowed, stopped. This isn't dispositive on use, he said, because he had to say something. It is dispositive on ownership, Bianca said. Use follows the owner when the occupant enters by permission. He pivoted. Your Honor will ask why we're here if Ms. Cole already left the master. Because opposing counsel's clients tried to create abandonment, Bianca replied, tapping a printout of subject lines from Ethan's email. Den plan, lease language? Phase 2 if she leaves. We hadn't opened the content. We didn't need to. The dates were enough. The judge took the bench on Wednesday. Honorable Irina Markel, a woman with a low bun and a voice that could kiln dry clay. We were one of 8 motions that morning. When our case was called, the gallery thinned into quiet. Bianca stood. Separate property, Your Honor. Premarital purchase, sole payment. The non-owner invited third parties to occupy the primary bedroom and demanded the owner move to a windowless den. We seek exclusive occupancy and restraint against alterations or online disparagement. Price rose with speed. This is a domestic adjustment, not a legal crisis. My client is the husband, the judge said, eyes on the file, not the owner. And he brought in the brother and his pregnant partner. She looked up. Why? Ethan cleared his throat. Family needed help, Your Honor. Avery works long hours. The den made sense. The judge's eyebrows lifted a degree. For her? For everyone, he said, and the room heard the wobble. Bianca kept her voice even. We have a building manager ready to testify that management received notice from Ms. Cole, not from Mr. Cole. We also have preserved social media posts indicating the non-party planned to live in the master months before any conversation with Ms. Cole. Show me, Judge Markel said. Bianca handed up the screen-recorded story, Mia's caption, my window, a date stamp like a bruise. The judge watched 15 seconds, then set the iPad down as if it had burned. Mr. Cole, she said, were you aware of this? Ethan opened his mouth, closed it. Not at the time. The judge turned to Mia at counsel table, where she sat with her hands around a paper cup. Ms. Rivera, did you post this? Mia nodded, small. Yes, Your Honor. Before there was any agreement with Ms. Cole? Another nod. I was excited. We were talking as a family. The judge didn't scold. She didn't need to. She turned to Ms. Delgado. Manager, confirm for me, locks? Per Ms. Cole's instruction, we did not change them, Ms. Delgado said. We would not without owner consent. Thank you, Judge Markel said. She shuffled papers, then spoke without theatrics. Exclusive occupancy to petitioner effective 48 hours from now. Respondent and all guests to vacate the master bedroom and any other private areas not designated by petitioner for shared use. No alteration of locks. No removal or destruction of fixtures. No disparagement online. Counsel to exchange asset disclosures within 10 days. Will reconvene in 30. Price bristled. 48 hours will put a pregnant woman in distress. Then respondent should secure appropriate housing, the judge said. He has a job. He has a family. He chose to invite third parties into a home he does not own. She paused, then added what sounded like a bench memo to the room. I do not look kindly on manufactured abandonment. Bianca didn't smile. I didn't either. Relief doesn't always look like joy. Sometimes it's just oxygen returning to a room. We filed out. In the hallway, Hera was waiting, not in a coat this time, but in shirt sleeves, tie loosened. He held out a hand to Bianca first. Clean work, he said. Then to me. If you need a statement about last week's dinner, my wife and I will provide one. We know how rumor works. Thank you, I said, and meant it in a place much deeper than politeness. Ethan approached with Price, jaw set, but the fight had left his eyes. We'll comply, he said, barely above a whisper. Avery, I didn't know about the post. Not before. I believe you, I said. That doesn't change what you did know. Mia hovered behind him, cheeks pale, one hand unconsciously circling. For a moment, the hallway dissolved into the sterile hum of a hospital corridor in my mind, two futures branching, one where we tore each other apart for sport, and another where we kept the damage as small as possible. I chose the second. Bianca will send a list of neighborhood rentals, I said quietly. Short-term, pet-friendly, near clinics. I'm not trying to hurt you, Mia. I'm trying to stop being erased. She blinked at that, and her eyes filled, not performative, just tired. Okay, she whispered. We were almost to the elevators when Price called after us. One more issue, he said, voice casual, but the kind of casual that hides a hook. Bank statements. Ms. Cole made repeated owners draws from her business to purchase household items during the marriage. We'll be seeking inequitable credit. Bianca didn't flinch. And we'll be seeking attorney's fees for emotion you forced by overreaching, she said. But if you want credits, we'll also seek credits for Ms. Cole paying respondents student loans for 3 years, his car lease for 2, and his golf membership since inception. It will be an entertaining spreadsheet. Price shut his folder with a smile that had lost its bite. See you in 30. Outside, the autumn light hit the courthouse steps like a verdict of its own, gold, unsentimental. Bianca walked with me to the curb. Here's the part you won't love, she said. He'll email you tonight. Long, contrite, therapy adjectives. Do not respond. Let counsel speak. I nodded. Understood. And the part you should savor, you held the line, Avery. Judges see through theater. Today, they saw you. That night, in my quiet sublet, I opened my laptop to an inbox full of logistics, storage, insurance, Ms. Delgado's confirmation that keys would be exchanged at noon, Harrow's formal statement. Ethan's email was there too, exactly as Bianca predicted. I'm in therapy. I understand now. We can repair. It was long and soft and full of hindsight. I didn't reply. I forwarded it to Bianca and closed the lid. 48 hours later, I stood in the master doorway with Ms. Delgado while Ethan and Noah carried out the last box. Mia paused by the light switch, fingers tracing the plate I'd chosen during a renovation, brushed brass, warm as late afternoon. She looked at me. You were right, she said. About permission. I nodded once. It wasn't victory. It was accuracy. When the door closed, I turned off the lights, one room at a time. Paper had done what pleading never could. It put the floor back under my feet. 30 days turned into a stack of folders and the kind of calendar where every square said call. Bianca and Price scheduled our settlement conference for a Thursday, 10 a.m., a room with a cheap ficus and a window that tried to look like a view. Disclosures first, Price said, sliding over spreadsheets. No surprises. That was the lie good lawyers tell because it makes civilians relax. Bianca didn't. She leafed through page 1, page 2, then stopped. Your client expensed prenatal vitamins to his health plan, she said mildly. Price blinked. Married couples share coverage. That's not. No, Bianca said, tap on the column. Dependent edition, newborn. Policyholder, Ethan Cole. Mother, Mia Rivera. The room refrigerated. Ethan's pen clicked, once. I didn't speak. I watched the way his eyes slid to the corner of the table, the way his thumb pressed a crescent into his palm. Mia's name on his plan, my plan, by marriage, didn't prove biology. It proved something else. He'd put himself on paper where he didn't belong. Price recovered fast. Administrative error, he said. The hospital sometimes adds whoever shows up. We'll file a correction. Bianca didn't look away. They don't add anyone without an authorization. She turned to me, voice steady. Avery, may I? I nodded. She opened my tote and took out an envelope I'd brought for a different reason. Not a trap, a question. It had arrived at my sublet 3 days earlier, a boat gray insurance EOB with the familiar logo and my name on the outer window because I was still the spouse of record. I hadn't opened it alone. I waited in Bianca's office with the eucalyptus and the printer hum and let her slide a letter opener under the flap. Now she set the EOB between us like a postcard from a country you don't want to visit. Dependent enrollment confirmation. Infant, Isabella Rivera Cole. Mother, Mia Rivera. Responsible party, Ethan Cole. Bianca didn't raise her voice. Counsel, she said, your client enrolled a newborn as his dependent and listed himself as the responsible party. Price's smile went flat. Clerical. Clerical will come with a reimbursement request, Bianca said, because the payer will want its money back. And clerical will become fraud if not corrected. In the meantime, we will proceed as if facts are what they are. Ethan finally looked up. He didn't look at Price. He looked at me. I'm sorry, he said, and the strap in his voice snapped. I wanted to help. Noah, he was between jobs. Mia's plan lapsed. I put the baby on mine to get them covered. It was, he searched for a word that made it noble. Temporary. Temporary, Bianca repeated. Like moving your wife to a windowless den. He flinched. Price tried again. Even if we assume the worst interpretation, paternity isn't before the court today. We're here to resolve occupancy and assets, which get resolved with clarity, Bianca said. So here's ours, sign the settlement as drafted, exclusive occupancy to Avery, you vacate within 7 days, mutual non-disparagement, no claims to separate property, no spousal support, and we won't raise this again today. Or push this into a hearing with a judge who, I assure you, will care about patterns. For a long moment, the only sound was the ficus leaves pretending to be alive. Ethan folded, neatly, like a man who'd ironed his shirt in the dark. We'll sign, he said. Price swallowed whatever argument he had stored and nodded. He slid the draft toward Ethan, then to me. My hand didn't shake. I initialed every page, wrote my name in ink that didn't smudge, dated it with a number that felt like a mile marker instead of a wound. We broke for 10 minutes so copies could be made. Bianca stepped into the hall to call filing. I stayed, alone with Ethan, the ficus, and the envelope. He cleared his throat. It's not what you think, he said. He meant, I'm not the father. He meant, I'm not that person. I didn't ask, I said. It came out simpler than I felt. You made a choice to put your name where it didn't belong. That's the part one understand. He nodded, small and miserable. I thought I was protecting them. You were protecting yourself, I said, from looking like the brother who couldn't help. He winced, and for a second the old ache pinched. How much of us had been performance? How much had been love wearing the wrong lighting? I let the ache pass. Bianca returned with stamped copies, Price with a pen that clicked like a gavel. We signed. The room didn't cheer. Paper rarely does. On the sidewalk, noon light turned the courthouse steps into bleached stone. Bianca tucked the settlement into her leather folio like a quiet trophy. Keys at 4, she said. Ms. Delgado will witness. Then you go home. Home meant the condo again, for now. It also meant something else. I had to feel the space without fury to know if it was truly mine or just a place I'd rebuilt out of pride. At 3:58, Ms. Delgado met me in the lobby with her lanyard and that metronome calm. Ethan arrived a minute later, fobs in his palm, eyes red in the way that looks worse on men who usually believe crying is untidy. Noah's at the car, he said. Mia's at her cousin's. Good, I said. He dropped the fobs into my hand. The weight was small and absolute. I'll send you something, he said quietly. A letter. Not to get you back. Just to, he exhaled. Tell the truth. Send it to Bianca, I said. If it's about money, we need records. If it's about feelings, I'm not the right address anymore. He nodded. The elevator doors opened, and then closed on him like a soft book. Upstairs, the condo smelled like lemon cleaner and blankness. I walked through each room slowly, like a site visit after demolition. The light still moved the way it had when I first toured it, nice as a hand on your shoulder. I stood in the master doorway and could almost hear Mia laughing in the echo that remained only because I remembered it. Memory is a kind of wallpaper, it comes off if you commit. There was a parcel on the island. Brown paper. No note. Inside, a slim box and a folded document. The box held my grandmother's place card holders from our wedding, tiny brass frames the size of postage stamps. I hadn't seen them since the reception. The paper beneath was a copy of a cashier's check. Pay to the order of Avery Cole, $14,320. Memo line, repayment, loan, licensing fees. A bank slip showed a deposit from a car sale. There was a second page. Handwritten. Ethan's script, familiar and sloppy as always. I can't fix what I did. I can start by not letting you carry what I should have. I didn't cheat on you. I did something smaller and meaner. I wanted to be the hero in a story I didn't write. I told myself I was helping them. I was really trying to be a man without earning it. I'm sorry, E. I stood there with the brass frames in one hand and the copy of a check in the other, not moved to tears, not vindicated, just steadier. Sometimes the most unexpected thing isn't a scandal. It's a person choosing, too late, to be exact. My phone buzzed. An unknown number. I almost let it go. I answered. Ms. Cole? The voice was female, warm, faintly amused. This is Fallon and West. We've reviewed your concept deck. It's, well, the word around here is alive. We'd like to proceed with a full rollout, flagship and 3 satellite stores. Also, our general counsel saw the Harrow letter you CC'd. Small world. I glanced at the island clock. 4:13. The day rearranged itself. Yes, I said, breathless for the first time in months for a good reason. We can take it. One more thing, she added. Our founder wants to meet at your studio. She said, and I quote, there's a woman who knows how to keep her line straight in high wind. I want her eyes on our next chapter. After the call, I carried the brass frames to the den, the room that was supposed to make me smaller, and lined them on the shelf like tiny windows. Then I opened my notebook and wrote the first line of a new project: build a space where nothing important lives on someone else's permission. I was about to close the notebook when a text arrived from an unknown contact. A photo. A newborn, cheeks like punctuation, wrapped in a hospital blanket. The caption, Isabella. She's healthy. I'm going to do better. Mia. I stared at the picture a long time. Then I typed back one line and hit send. Get her birth certificate corrected. Start there. For the first time since the morning Ethan said den or door, I laughed. Not because anything was funny, but because the sound fit the room. When I finally turned off the lights, the condo didn't feel like a stage or a crime scene. It felt like something else I knew how to build, a clean site. Level. Ready. And in the dark glass of the bedroom window, my reflection looked back, not smaller, not larger, just true.